So today's training is called Building a Marketing and Distribution Company. It's been my experience over years that oftentimes when people are building their business in the network marketing space, they're not clear, first of all, that they're actually building a business. And secondly, they're not clear of what that business is going to look like as it develops and grows. And we're just big believers that if you can capture a picture, if you can get that picture in your mind of what it's going to look like as you're building it and the overall perspective of it, you're probably going to have a higher likelihood of success as you go out, knowing that you're beginning with the end in mind, that there's a evolution of growth that takes place as you're building and developing inside of this space. And that's designed so that we can get a more firm understanding. So the name of this training is called Building a Marketing and Distribution Company, because that is in fact what you're doing. You're really building a company that has products and services, in our case, wellness-based products that are designed to enhance and further benefit individuals that are utilizing the products. And our past has been nutritional supplementation. Now we've accelerated and evolved into the endocannabinoid system, specifically with CBD-based products. And so we're going to talk a little bit about the structure, the growth of that type of business, and really how it evolves and how important it is to pay attention to the ideas and the philosophies behind building and developing the business. So the first thing I want to do is, here's a graph, and you can see that as you're building a marketing and distribution company, on one side of your company, you really have products and services. Today, Wellness BioSciences RX has right now a SKU of 5 different products. And we also have them put together carefully and designed in every brand partner's back office so that they can collectively enroll new people with our products so that they can advance the amount of inventory that they have for the cost if they buy them in the packs as they're dedicated. But these products, when you're first building and developing your organization, your business, we have a very straightforward 6-step marketing program. The first step is to use all the products so that you yourself become a consumer of the products. And the more entrenched and the more information you have about the benefits that those products have for you, the better you are to advance that second step, which is to share the benefits, to share how those products are working. And that becomes, for lack of a better word, your form of marketing and advertising, right? So you're building a business that's not limited to your own personal experience. In fact, it's often advanced by the experience of other people who also have experienced benefits. And many of our remote calls, our Zoom calls, our conference calls, and our live meetings, we have people that share the results that they've had. They share their personal testimony, which is a very powerful means of marketing the results that you've had in marketing the benefits and the value of your products, right? And so you're going to find a lot of people, if you're doing this with any level of consistency and any level of effectiveness, okay, you're going to find that you're going to bring on people that will just become, and mind you, this is your company, you're sitting on top, you've got products on one side, but attached to those products, you have a business opportunity that has equal value on the other side. So it's a balance of both. It's not just one, it's not just products, but it's not just business opportunity either. But as you're going out and you're leading with information about the results that you've had with the tangible, which is a product, because a product is intangible, right? An opportunity is intangible because opportunity means different things to different people. Some people just need to make sure that they have enough money to pay the bills and start over the next month. And some people need enough money to pay the bills and pay their credit card bills off. And some people need enough money to pay some debt off. And maybe that's $5,000, $10,000 a month. Maybe it's $2,000 to $3,000 a month. So opportunity means different things for different people. For some people, it's a career shift. It's reinventing themselves. It's putting themselves into a position for the first time in their lives to generate high 6-figure and 7-figure incomes, right? So the variable is the individual. It's people that operate inside your company. Now, we are firm believers, okay, that we're not trying to take people and make them become something that they do not want to be. It's very important that you understand that there's plenty of people out there that are going to want to become users and consumers, okay, of your products and services. In fact, the vast majority of people, as you're building your company over time and you show this information to other people, they're going to build a base of business with people that just become consumers. And we really do focus on this because as you're building a real form of residual income in your organization, it's really important to know that people are using the product, they're sharing benefits, and they're giving free samples. And this is all based on a ratio of people, if done with any level of effectiveness, that are going to want to come back and at least want to know how they can experience the value of those products by purchasing them directly through you as a brand partner, through your replicated site. They can become a retail customer. They can buy at a discount and become a preferred customer in either event, because you've gone out and you've shared the benefits from product that you've used and you've given people free samples. You'll find that their ratio will begin to appear of people that, that really want to experience the benefits of the products ongoing themselves. The more educated people become, the further along they will typically go in understanding the value of the products. And when they start to use the products, well, that's a complete validation. Then they know without a doubt that the products are not just, from a educational perspective, designed to help their endocannabinoid system reduce, different types of stress, inflammation. Different people have various types of pain. So depending upon which of the elements within the CBD, you have 113 different compounds in the cannabis plant, and they all have a very proficient capability of elevating the andamine in the body and giving the body the homeostasis of what it needs on the educational side. So we provide education with our tools. We provide information with our product guides. We provide information with recorded Zoom calls done by medical doctors. And if used correctly, as you offer information as to the results that you've had, that education goes a long way with people that would potentially want to become a consumer. And as you build and develop your platform of more and more consumers, there's a lot of value there. But here's what you can count on. When people start using the products and believing that it works, they become a potential prospect, a natural increase of interest. They become a potential prospect at getting involved and teaming up with you and with WBRX and with all of our brand partners to go out and orchestrate and grow a solid network. And here's kind of how that goes. Someone gets involved, they try, or someone just has a chance to try a sample, and they experience the results. And during the time that they're trying the sample, they're observing and watching the person who sampled them the product. If there's elements within the development of that person that, sheds light to them that says that there might be an opportunity, if that person kind of it carries themselves in a professional manner, and they're not, they're just explaining the value, and they're certainly look like they've had some success in life, or perhaps they're just getting involved in building a business, but they just neutralize themselves in such a way where they've said, hey, attached to these products is a phenomenal business opportunity. Maybe they just kind of shed some information little tidbits at a time. And so what happens for people that have maybe been given a sample, and maybe intentionally the person who sampled them said, hey, I'm going to give you a sample. If you like this, what I'd really like to do is invite you to come, to a Zoom call on a scheduled basis and learn more about how there's enough revenue to offset, or at minimum give you a discount on buying the product for people that you refer, or potentially offset your cost of buying it entirely, or better yet, give you an opportunity to supplement revenue. And let me tell you, we do have people that have gotten involved in our business, and they've gone out and they've earned pretty good money in their early stages of growing the company. So in either event, that is a real opportunity. And so sometimes these people, they look around and they start seeing the results. Maybe they talk with someone like, Mike Rennell, who earned $3,000 in his first 30 days. Or they talk to, or they hear from them on a Zoom call, like Mike shared yesterday, really help dramatically in, having Lamont West get involved in the business. Okay. Or they listen to, the story. Maybe, maybe Ryan shares, he happens to share the fact that, people who he brought in the business in their first, few months have gone out and earned $10, $15, $20,000 in commissions as a result of building the business. Whatever the number is, that what it does is these people come to a Zoom call, just as we've had happen these past few weeks. They listen to the information. Have a gal out in Huntington Beach who pulled me up on just in LinkedIn and saw information, asked some questions, sent me a text, sent me information via LinkedIn, responded to the text, brought her to a Zoom call, exposed her to the information, brought her to the Saturday comp plan. And she said, you know what, probably manager is the right place for me to start my business. Okay. So these things happen once you have activity moving, right? And so what they'll do is they'll start to advance, and usually they'll start to carve out a specific amount of time. And this doesn't happen initially right away. They just say, you know what, I think I can see myself participating in the calendar of events, using this product, sharing samples, and asking people and inviting people to come to various events that you guys are promoting. Because if that's what you're asking me to do to be able to build the business, I think I can allocate 3 to 5 hours a week of time in my schedule. And in doing so, they then start participating on the opportunity side on a spare time basis. Now, remember, all of this is going on in your marketing and distribution company. So you've got folks that will get involved to become consumers of the product, and they love the results. And then some people get involved and the products validate the reason that they want to get involved in the opportunity. Rarely do you ever have anybody that just jumps into this and says, hey, I want to go out and start carving out 30 or 40 hours a week right away. That is not normally the way that people grow and develop inside of our industry. And it certainly is true that they don't start doing that inside of our company. I'll go out and I'll tell you, I'll be so bold as to say, we have very few people in WBRX, I promise you, that are working even 20 hours a week. Okay. And that's just kind of how companies start out, and companies, we do have a lot of people that are, coming to, we have a lot of people that are never even come to Zoom calls that we're doing business with. We're really beginning to reinforce the culture and the idea of you guys getting your folks to start participating and coming to all of the remote calls that we have on our calendar as much as they can, at least maybe once a week or every now and then. And that's spare time effort, truthfully. And people ebb and flow. The reality is that nobody here is employing people. And even if we did employ them, they'd probably find a way to kind of do what they want to do most of the time, right? And they're not really locked in and focused and going out every day and talking to people. That's not how they think that you build a business, but it is. So there's nothing that we can do to make people do anything. They will determine that for themselves, and their results will be evident in the report card of how many people they sponsor over X period of time. And that's going to be the ultimate determining factor for the income that they're going to generate. It's not us. Entrepreneurs are basically folks, their report card are the results that they have as they're building the business. We know that, right? So when people get involved with you, they're using these products from this company, WBRX. They've heard about the physicians. They come to a Zoom call. They get results of the product, and they start saying, well, let me kind of get a feel for this. Let me start poking my toe in the water and at least come to the Zoom calls on Tuesdays and Thursdays and then on Saturday morning and get more information, let it reinforce who I am and what I'm doing. So that's perfect. But in the event that they happen to bring somebody to the Zoom call that gets firmly excited about the opportunity, then their antennas go up and they get more excited. Because in most cases, guys, people are driven more by things that they can see in the natural than the things that they can see in the unnatural. Not very many people have been blessed and gifted with a natural sense of vision. They know that the possibility is there, but they don't necessarily believe it can happen for them. or they would start pursuing it with a higher level of energy and focus and all the things that happen. You can find people that'll go to work for someone for a paycheck because it's a paycheck, right? And they believe in that, but they don't necessarily believe in building a multi-million-dollar business because they've never seen it, felt it, or touched it. They've heard about it. It's kind of something that they've seen in bigger meetings, but they've never actually done it themselves. And so all this is going on. And so what happens as you're going out, maybe you spare time, maybe you start off with some focused energy and some time, you bring someone into the business and they get involved and with a level of excitement and enthusiasm, then what happens is people start to quantify the time that they're spending in the business part. As they're quantifying that, they say, wait a minute, I got involved in this business. I'll use Ryan as an example in his first 30 days, and he had good results in his first 30 days. He sponsored Erica and Jeff Matthews. And that was a great result because not only did they come in at PPC, they brought in a couple of other PPCs, great result. But here's what can happen. That result can perpetuate a further interest in the business. And now as people evolve, they may have come in because they like the products, they know the potential, and now they start kind of spending a little bit of time, and then a result occurs. And as that result occurs, they start saying, wonder what would happen if I dedicated the resources of time and energy and started spending more time, if I started advancing the amount of time I was going to spend in the business. Now, these folks start evolving and they become what we call part-time people. And they'll start dedicating somewhere between 10 to 15 hours a week. They actually start participating in your meetings. They start doing portions of the Zoom calls. They start participating in maybe doing some of the presentations. They become the facilitator of the business opportunity for whom? The spare time people and the consumers. They're the ones that are carving out the time, just like any other business that any one of us have ever been involved with, or any other result that we've had, whether it's education, anything that we've ever done. There's always a defining and separating point between you and other people that got involved that did not have success. And usually it's getting ahead, it's having focused time and energy ahead of the result. So what these folks will do is they'll start saying, you know what, I got involved and maybe I didn't spend a whole lot of time and energy. I made some phone calls, but if I really looked at how much time I'm spending on a weekly basis in front of new people, I'm probably at best a spare time person. But if I got involved spare time, I'm spending 3 to 5 hours a week really doing the business, but I earned $5,000, $10,000, or $15,000. Wonder what would happen if I spent 10 to 15 hours a week. Wonder if I would increase my probability of greater level of success. Answer, of course. Yes, no question. So does that mean that there's any guarantee? Absolutely not. It means that if you're dedicating more time to growing your business and you're working effectively within that time, then a natural evolution of bigger results tend to happen. I got involved in the business, guys, at a time when I owned a health club and a physical therapy practice, and frankly, did not believe I had time for this industry. Did not believe that it was a real business that would pay me consistently, okay? When I got involved, I just started doing it on a spare time basis, and then I had results, and then I started applying more time to the business. And when I started applying more time to the business, I started participating in all the meetings. I was there every Tuesday night at that time, at a hotel in Westwood, California. I would come to every Saturday training. I would listen to calls that were pre-recorded calls, something called Win Access at that time for a company called Wellness International Network. And we would just listen to recorded messages from the owner of the company that gave me a better idea of the mindset, of the understandings of the complexities of the business and things I could do more successfully. And it started retraining my thinking into the possibilities. And the further along I went and the more time I started spending. So at first I was dedicating no more than 5 to 7 hours a week. And all I was doing was bringing people. I was never doing the meeting. I had never done any part of the presentation. But when I got involved and I became a part-time person, I became interested in refining my skills so that I could not just come and bring people, but I would have a greater amount of edification and a greater exposure if I was actually doing a part of the presentation. I also had some results. I'd sponsored some people. I was starting to build a bit of a group. I had a bit of a story. And so I was able to integrate my personal experience with the product, my personal experience with the business opportunity, and I was able to start participating in not just coming to the meeting, but also facilitating some of the meeting. And I started taking on more responsibility. I started making sure that, I was one of the the core groups. I was one of the guys that was making sure that the room was set up correctly and that everyone had what they needed, because every organization, guys, builds as a result of a core nucleus of people that make sure that everything is as it should be. In our case, we've got, I'm looking at and Mitchell and Gail, and they're up in the boardroom in our office, and they're focusing their dedicated time to what's required to build their business. They've kind of, on some level, fired and rehired themselves, and they're putting forth a well orchestrated plan. They're having meetings today. They had a meeting with Sean Baker at the office, and when meeting went well. So as we begin to start shifting our time and our energy and our focus, what ends up happening is the results typically follow. Okay. And if the results don't follow, then you have to re-engineer and redesign what you're doing in terms of your skills, or what you're doing in terms of the time that you're spending to have the results that you want to have. Now, here's where the magic starts to take place. The more time you start spending in the business, and we have had this happen many times. We've got people that start spending 10 hours a week consistently, and then they start to look at the income that they're making, and they compare that income with what they're making in their 30, 40, 50-hour full-time job, okay? And I can tell you across the board, if people work with any level of effectiveness in our marketing plan, in our compensation strategy, it's not hard for people to start seeing a six-figure revenue. The trend will absolutely appear. And when they look at that and they realize that they're controlling their own time, their destiny, they're working with who they want, when they want, and where they want, that by itself, that sense of freedom, knowing that they're building and developing a business versus working and building someone else's dream, building their own dream, it starts to propagate a different level of momentum, excitement, and enthusiasm as they're building their business, okay? And then what ends up occurring is then you have people that move, and now you've got a smaller group of people in your company. Remember, this is all in your company over time, and you've got a lot of people that are consumers. Then you're going to have a shakeout of that. Some of those folks become spare time, and maybe a smaller group becomes part-time. But inside of your marketing and distribution company, believe you me, you're going to have some people that evolve into this full-time status, okay? Now, here's the magic. All of these people, guys, they're building and developing their business for themselves and their family inside of your company, okay? And the reason people are able to secure a real form of residual income is simply on the basis of the fact that they've got other people inside their business that have evolved through this network that are taking on higher amounts and further along in the responsibility, further along in the commitments. It's all about people advancing their commitment. And the most precious thing that we all have is time, right? If you're blessed with 90 years in this life, that's about 30,000 days. Now, some of us are more than halfway there. Some of us are way past the halfway point. And so every day and every hour that we spend in every day really does count. Ultimately, you want to be, or people typically want to be in a position where they have both time, freedom, and the financial wherewithal to be able to enjoy that and do some of the things that they like with their loved ones or people they care about. Because when we look back on this journey, as we're older, we're probably not going to be asking ourselves, the questions that sometimes people think they ask you, how many things did we have, or how much money do we, it'll probably be how much time we spent with people we cared about, how much more we could have done to express the love and the care, all of the things that really start to blend themselves. I visit my grandmother who's in a senior living care facility. Unfortunately, I've been able to physically sit next to her since March the 13th, but I'm able to, see her now through a glass. There's like a glass thing, and then we talk to each other on the phone. And believe it or not, this woman is 93 years old, and she got the COVID virus about a month and a half ago and beat it, and now is doing well. She shares some thoughts and things with me because she's still very alert and spry, and loves the people that come in and take care of her. She's, she just kind of likes an environment where she can constantly sit and talk with people her age, etc. And she shares with me, some of the things in her past that are regrets, and some of the things in her past that are the high points. And the regrets are always fundamentally around wishing she could have spent more time with the people she cares about. So time is the big deal. And really, if you want to talk to people about why they would consider our business, whether it's an ancillary form of revenue, additional to what they have, that doesn't require 100% of their time, or it's a career shift because they want to dedicate their life to being in a position of capturing significant revenue without the same intensity of time for money or fee for service, this is a remarkable platform. We've attracted business professionals, high-end entrepreneurs from all over the world because they recognize that a small percentage of a lot of people's time to equate to revenue to them is a heck of a lot better than 100% of their own efforts to generate revenue. It just is, it's a known fact, right? So we don't try to convince people of this. We let them dictate where they want to be. I put this training together so the people can get a visual understanding. Ultimately, guys, inside of your company, if you're continuing to add new people through the 6-step program, you're going to have some people that evolve and become business builders. I look back at my sponsor in 1992, and that guy that brought me into the business from me down generated somewhere around $3.2 million of revenue because he sponsored me. And then the person who sponsored him generated about 1.6, and the person who sponsored that person somewhere around 500,000. And that was all because of one line, right? Now, my highest recommendation is do not depend upon one line to generate the revenue that you could otherwise get if you had 2 to 3 to 4 or 5 good lines. But my recommendation is this: when you look at the sphere of what we're talking about here, I will tell you that in every instance, in my experience, as you're building this business over the 3 to 5 year period, you're going to have people that evolve to every area of what you see in terms of time, energy, and effort. You're going to have the majority of people say, well, what's the percentage? Okay. How many people are closer to your products in your business, buying products, and how many people are in your opportunity? Well, it's probably the same exact percentage as any career or any business that you've been involved with. In most cases, guys, almost universally, 20% of the people do 80% of the work. If you're in real estate, finances, business, 20% of the people do 80% of the work. Once I got this understanding, once this concept crossed my consciousness, it revolutionized my understanding of building the business entirely. Because I recognized that I don't have to try to convince people into becoming anything. People will evolve at the pace that they evolve. And it's all about making sure that I am active enough at bringing on new people so I sustain my immediate income. And that becomes evidence, and it becomes evidence not just for me, but for other people that see that the business is working. And in doing so, people begin to evolve in this at their own guaranteed pace, having nothing to do with me. If you have to convince somebody to do something, you're going to have to convince them to do it, and you're going to have to convince them to stay at it. But if you allow people to evolve and naturally go through this progression, you're going to find that they're going to be, and believe me, in 3 to 5 years, if you have 1 to 2 business builders that are generating anything close to the revenue, I'm talking, these people in most cases are $500,000 year earners and above. That's going to be the anchor that you're going to need to facilitate the growth of your business. You're going to have some part-time people. In most cases, that's 23 hours a week in our industry. And these are folks that are somewhere between 100 grand and 500 grand a year. And that's great money. And then you're going to have part-time people that are generating anywhere between 10,000 up to, 70 to 80, 90,000 a year. And you're going to have spare time people, a lot of them. We sometimes, as I go back at our track record, and we just, pay attention to the amount of people that were 7-figure earners or 6-figure earners, man, we had a lot of people that were, somewhere between an extra $30 to $50 to $70,000 a year on a spare time basis. And we had a bunch of people, man, we had, literally, hundreds of thousands of people that were consumers of the products. So, when you really understand this, and the only thing I would just leave you with as we conclude this training, guys, is that there are skills required to become a professional in this industry. Everyone's not interested in this. And I don't want to try to convince you into suggesting that everyone is, because most people are not. But for those that are interested, here are the skills required. Number one, your skill set to find prospects, your capacity to go out and become, have enough ingenuity and creativity, designating, defining a group of people to start with, but always finding new prospects in everything that you're doing. Social media, 3-foot rule, person to person, just continuing to become a professional network marketing individual. Number two is becoming a highly skilled person at inviting prospects to understand the value of your product and your opportunity. That's an entire training within itself. Presenting your product and your opportunity to your prospects, doing that individually or collectively. Following up with your prospects, very important skill. In fact, the money is always in the follow-up. It's a very important skill. Helping your prospects become customers and consultants. Very important, right? And then ultimately, guys, and I say consultants, we're really talking about brand partners. What we're really talking about in this case, guys, is giving people a facilitated understanding of building this marketing and distribution company. It's not hocus pocus. It's not, smoke and mirrors. If you find a few, then they find a few. No, it's by design. It's making sure that you build a full spectrum of people that love the product just like you do. And then from that, you're going to find some people that on a spare time basis look at building and developing the business. And then some of those people will evolve not just to spare time, maybe they go to part-time, and then obviously they evolve to full-time and potentially build as business builders. I think that the most important message I would send in terms of building and developing a marketing and distribution company is you cannot turn a plow mule into a racehorse. And I recommend that you do not take that class of trying to figure out how to accomplish that. My recommendation is go out and find a lot of people, and some of them will be racehorses. And then when you find them, you can segment those people and give them a track to run on. That's a real honest way of going out and building this business, not trying to create something that's not there, not trying to make somebody something that they do not want to be. That doesn't make sense at all. Okay, I know the industry and a lot of people in the industry think that it's all about convincing people. It's not. It's about making sure that you do the very best job that you can to articulate the full spectrum of the opportunity and what it could mean for people. And you'll find that the right people will gravitate into the business opportunity. So with that, guys, that completes our training of building a marketing and distribution company. We hope that you take this information and utilize it as you continue to grow and build your business. Thank you so much. God bless.